be me, 32 years old. Been organizing women's rights actions for almost a decade now. Spent my 20s reading everything from Daly to Lord to Federici, actually understanding the systems that keep women down. Not just reading either, actually doing the work. Coordinate monthly meetings at the community center, where we discuss reproductive justice and workplace discrimination. Help run the downtown women's shelter twice a week. Was at the state capitol last month with 200 other women demanding equal pay enforcement to meet James at a friend's dinner party. He's quiet, but seems sweet. Doesn't talk politics at all, which is actually kind of refreshing after spending all day, every day in the trenches. He restores furniture for a living, works with his hands, shows me pictures of a table he's refinishing. There's something calming about him, like still water. We start dating. It's nice at first. He never challenges me on my work, never asks me to explain myself or defend my positions like so many men do. I interpret this as respect, as him understanding that he should listen and learn. 6 months in, we move in together. His apartment is closer to the shelter, and the community center makes sense logistically. First real argument happens on a Tuesday night. I come home exhausted from a meeting where we'd been planning a protest against the new abortion restrictions. He's made dinner, pasta with vegetables. It's actually really thoughtful. But the kitchen is a disaster. Sauce on the stovetop, cutting board in the sink, vegetable scraps everywhere. I'm tired, and I just snap. James, I appreciate dinner, but could you please clean as you go? I'm not your maid. He stops mid-bite, puts his fork down, just looks at his plate. I wait for a response, an apology, an explanation, literally anything, nothing, complete silence. He won't even look at me. James, I'm talking to you. More nothing. He stands up, takes his plate to the sink, even though he's barely dull, eaten half, and walks to the bedroom. I sit there in the kitchen, surrounded by dirty pans, absolutely fuming. I give him space, figure he's processing. We'll talk about it later like adults. Later never comes. He acts the next morning like nothing happened, makes coffee, asks if I want some, completely normal. I try to bring it up. Hey, about last night, I think we should talk about. His face just goes blank, like someone pulled a shade down behind his eyes. He mumbles something about being late for work and leaves. I stand there with my coffee getting cold, absolutely bewildered, but also angry. Because this is exactly what men do. They shut down, they refuse to engage, they make you feel crazy for wanting basic communication. I've seen it 1,000 times, read about it in countless testimonies from women. The male retreat into silence as a power move, as a way to avoid accountability. I decide to give it a few days. Maybe he needs time. I'm busy anyway. We're organizing a speak out event for women to share their workplace harassment stories. Spend the next week interviewing participants, coordinating with the local press, making sure we have proper security. One of the women breaks down telling me about her boss, how he corners her in the supply room, how HR told her she was being too sensitive. I hold her while she cries and feel that familiar rage building in my chest. This is what we're fighting against. This is why the work matters. Come home Friday night and James has cleaned the entire apartment. There's fresh flowers on the table. He's made my favorite roasted chicken. I soften a little, think maybe this is his way of apologizing. We eat and it's peaceful. He asks about my week. I tell him about the speak out event, about the women's stories. He listens, nods, seems genuinely sympathetic. I feel like maybe we're okay. Maybe that first fight was just a fluke. Then Saturday happens. We're supposed to go to his brother's birthday thing across town. I'm already stressed because I have to leave early to make it to the speak out event. He knows this. We've talked about it. But Saturday morning he's moving slow, taking forever in the shower. Can't find his keys. We're running late and I'm getting anxious. James, we need to leave in 10 minutes or I'm going to miss the event. He's looking for his wallet now, checking the couch cushions. James, seriously, this is important to me. He finds his wallet, but now he can't find his phone. I feel my blood pressure rising. Why do you always do this? Why can't you just be ready on time? You know how important this event is. He stops searching. Stands there in the middle of the living room. And that shade comes down again. Complete shutdown. James, don't do this. Don't just shut down. I'm trying to talk to you. Nothing. This is so typical. This is what men do when they don't want to deal with conflict. You just check out. His jaw tightens, but he doesn't speak. I grab my bag and leave without him. Make it to the event with 5 minutes to spare. But I'm rattled, can barely focus on the speakers. One woman talks about her husband, how he gives her the silent treatment for days when she upsets him, how it makes her feel like she's going insane. I feel tears prick my eyes because yes, exactly, this is exactly what James is doing. It's a control tactic. It's punishment. It's him asserting dominance by withholding engagement. I've read about this, stonewalling as emotional abuse. When I get home that night, James is on the couch, watching some documentary about woodworking. He looks up when I come in, his expression careful. How was the event? His voice is soft, normal, like nothing happened this morning. And something in me snaps. Don't do that. Don't pretend like you didn't just completely shut me out this morning. The shade again, immediate. James, look at me, look at me. He's looking at the TV now, face blank. This is abuse. Do you understand that? Stonewalling is a form of abuse. You're punishing me by refusing to communicate. I wait for a response, for him to defend himself, to argue, to say literally anything. Silence. I'm shaking now, actually shaking with rage. You're just like every other man. You can't handle conflict, so you shut down. You make me do all the emotional labor while you just opt out. That's male privilege, James. That's you using your socialized male entitlement to avoid accountability. Still nothing. He stands up, walks past me to the bedroom, closes the door quietly. Not even a slam, just a soft click. I sleep on the couch that night. Spend half of it staring at the ceiling, the other half stress-reading articles on my phone about emotional availability in relationships. Every article confirms what I already know. Men are socialized to suppress emotions, to avoid vulnerability, to see communication as weakness. Patriarchy doesn't just hurt women. It creates these emotionally stunted men who can't function in intimate relationships. But that doesn't make it okay, doesn't make it not harmful. I'm not his therapist, I'm his partner, and I deserve basic respect and communication. Sunday, he emerges from the bedroom and starts making breakfast. I watch him from the couch. This man I've been living with for months, who suddenly feels like a stranger. We need to talk, I say. His shoulders tense, but he keeps cracking eggs into a bowl. James, I'm serious. We can't keep doing this. You can't just shut down every time we have a conflict. He's whisking the eggs now, the fork making rhythmic tinking sounds against the bowl. If you don't want to be in this relationship, just say so. But don't torture me with this silent treatment. He pours the eggs into the pan. I stand up, walk over to him. I'm close enough to touch him now. James, please, just talk to me. Tell me what's going on. For a second, I think he might. His mouth opens slightly. His hand grips the spatula tighter. But then, he just shakes his head and keeps cooking. I lose it. Completely lose it. Start yelling about emotional labor and patriarchy, and how women have been begging men to just communicate for centuries. How we're expected to manage not just our own emotions, but theirs too. How he's making me into the crazy woman, the hysterical girlfriend, while he gets to be the calm, rational one. I'm crying now, angry tears streaming down my face. You're being a coward. You're being a fucking coward, and you're hiding behind male socialization like it's an excuse. He turns off the stove, leaves the eggs sitting there, half-cooked, walks out the front door, just leaves. I stand in the kitchen with ruined eggs and my own rage and no idea what to do. He comes back 3 hours later. It doesn't say where he's been. I don't ask. We move around each other like ghosts for the next week. I throw myself into work, into organizing, into anything that isn't thinking about James. We're planning a rally for women's. Health funding? I volunteer to do outreach. Spend my days calling women's organizations, health clinics, anyone who might participate. Spend my evenings at planning meetings, coordinating with speakers and marshals. Come home late every night to find James already in bed or pretending to be. One of the women at the shelter, Maria, notices I'm off, asks if I'm okay over coffee in the break room. I tell her everything. She listens, nods sympathetically. Men? She says, shaking her head. They're all the same. My ex used to do that too. Just shut down whenever I tried to talk about anything real. I feel validated and angry and sad all at once. What did you do? I ask. Left him, she says simply. Life's too short to beg someone to treat you like a human being. I think about this on the drive home. Is that what I'm doing? Begging James to treat me like a human being? I deserve better than this. Women everywhere deserve better than this. We spend our whole lives accommodating men's emotions, their violence, their inability to function. And for what? I walk in the door ready to end it. James is at the kitchen table with his laptop open, looking at something. He glances up when I come in, and there's something different in his face. Fear, maybe. I set my bag down, steel myself. James, I think we should. I'm looking at therapists, he interrupts. It's the first time he's spoken first in weeks. I'm so shocked I just stand there. What? Therapists. I'm looking at therapists. I think I need help. He's not looking at me, eyes fixed on the laptop screen. But he's talking, which is more than he's done in weeks. I should feel relieved. Instead, I feel angry. So, that's it? You just shut me out for weeks, and now you're going to therapy, and everything's supposed to be fine? He flinches. Actually, physically flinches. And I feel a sick satisfaction in it, like I've finally landed a blow. Do you have any idea what you've put me through? The stress? The confusion? Making me feel crazy? His hand is trembling on the mouse pad. This is textbook male behavior, James. Wait until the woman is at her breaking point, and then make the minimum effort to keep her around. I'm on a roll now, weeks of frustration pouring out. You know what I do all day? I help women escape men who treat them like this. Men who use silence as a weapon. Men who make women responsible for their emotional well-being while giving nothing back. His eyes are closed now. And the whole time I thought you were different. I thought you were one of the good ones. But you're just like all the rest. My voice is getting louder. You're exactly what's wrong with men. You can't communicate, you can't be vulnerable, you just shut down and expect women to figure it out. He's gripping the edge of the table now, knuckles white. You're a coward, James. That's what you are. A coward who hides behind silence because actually engaging would require effort. And then, something happens that I don't expect. He starts crying. Not quiet tears, actual sobs. His whole body is shaking with them. He's trying to hold them back. I can see him trying. But they keep coming. I stand there frozen, my anger suddenly evaporating into confusion. He's gasping now, can't catch his breath. I've never seen him like this. Didn't even know he was capable of this. Without thinking, I move toward him. He puts his hands up like he's protecting himself. Like he thinks I'm going to hit him. And that gesture, that instinctive defensive crouch, stops me cold. James, he's still crying, still struggling to breathe. I kneel down next to the chair, hands up to show I'm not a threat. Since when am I a threat? James, hey, it's okay. Just breathe. I use the same voice I use with women at the shelter, during panic attacks. Slow, calm, steady. In through your nose, out through your mouth. You're okay. You're safe. Gradually, his breathing slows. The sobs become, hiccups become, shaky breaths. He still won't look at me. I wait. Actually wait this time. Not demanding, not pushing. When he finally speaks, his voice is barely a whisper. My dad used to make us stand in the corner. I don't say anything, afraid if I do, he'll stop. If we talked back, if we argued, if we said anything he didn't like, we had to stand facing the corner, for hours sometimes. His hands are still shaking. My brother got it worse. He was older, more mouthy. Dad would make him stand there all night sometimes. If he moved, if he made a sound, it started over. I feel something cold settling in my stomach. One time Jake, my brother, he was standing there, and he started crying. Just quiet crying. He was trying to hide it. Dad heard him. Made him stand there for 2 days straight. Only let him sit down to eat and use the bathroom. Jake was 12. Oh God. I learned real early that silence was safer. That the less you said, the less you reacted, the better chance you had of getting through it. My throat is tight. When you got angry that first time about the kitchen, I went back there. To being 8 years old, trying not to make a sound. And I know that's not fair to you. I know you're not him. But my brain doesn't know that. Tears are running down his face again, but quieter now. Every time there's conflict, I feel like I'm standing in that corner again. My whole body just locks up. I can't speak. I can't move. I just freeze. He finally looks at me. His eyes are red and exhausted. I'm not trying to punish you. I'm not trying to control you. I'm just trying to survive. I'm crying now too, thinking about every word I said, every accusation I made. I didn't know, I whisper. It sounds hollow even as I say it. You didn't ask. It's not accusatory, just fact. And he's right. I didn't ask. I assumed. I projected. I fit his behavior into my framework of patriarchy and male privilege. Never once considered that his silence might be pain instead of power. I'm so sorry, I say, and I mean it. But I also know sorry doesn't undo the damage. The therapist thing, he says, gesturing at the laptop. I should have done it years ago. I know that. But I thought I was handling it. Thought I'd moved past it. This isn't your fault, I say. He gives me a sad smile. It's not yours either. You didn't know. I didn't tell you. But I should have asked. I should have considered. I built my whole life around understanding power dynamics and oppression. Spent years learning to see the invisible structures that harm people. But I couldn't see his pain because I'd already decided what his silence meant. I'd made him into a symbol, a representation of every man who'd ever stonewalled a woman. Never saw him as a person with his own trauma, his own history. My brother Jake, James says after a moment. He killed himself when he was 23. The cold in my stomach spreads through my entire body. He'd been diagnosed with PTSD, depression, anxiety. Was in and out of therapy, but he never really got better. Couldn't hold down a job, couldn't maintain relationships. The silence thing, the freezing up, he had it worse than me. James wipes his eyes. There was this girlfriend he had, his last year. She used to call him weak. Said he was pathetic. Couldn't handle basic adult communication. He told me once that she said, "Real men don't shut down, they engage." I feel sick. 2 months after she left him, he was gone. I'm full on sobbing now, thinking about Jake, about James, about every man I've dismissed as emotionally unavailable. About the women at my meetings who share stories about their silent partners, and how we all nod and agree about male privilege, never asking what might be underneath that silence. I'm not saying this to make you feel guilty, James says. He reaches out tentatively and takes my hand. I'm saying it because you asked what was wrong. This is what's wrong. This is why I shut down. I'm so sorry, I say again, knowing it's inadequate. He squeezes my hand. I know you are. We sit there on the kitchen floor for a long time. I think about all my theories about patriarchy and male socialization. They're not wrong exactly. Men are socialized to suppress emotion, to avoid vulnerability. But I'd use that framework as a weapon, as a way to judge without understanding. Never considered that sometimes silence isn't privilege. Sometimes it's survival. James's dad taught him through violence that speaking up meant punishment. Society taught him that men don't cry, don't break down, don't admit weakness. And then women like me come along demanding emotional labor without considering the cost, without asking why it might be so hard. I think about the rally I'm planning, the speeches about women's pain and women's struggles. All of it valid, all of it true. But I'd been so focused on women's suffering that I couldn't see men's. Couldn't see that trauma doesn't care about gender, that pain isn't a competition, that someone can be privileged in some ways and deeply wounded in others. What do we do now? I ask. James is quiet for a moment. I make an appointment with a therapist, start doing the work I should have done years ago. He looks at me. And maybe you could come with me sometimes? Not to therapy itself, but couples counseling maybe, so you can understand better, so I can learn to communicate better. I nod, thinking about how much I have to learn, about listening instead of assuming, about asking instead of judging, about seeing people as people instead of symbols. I love you, I say, and I do. But I also know love isn't enough. Not without understanding, without effort, without humility. I love you too, he says. We sit there in the kitchen as the light fades outside, two damaged people trying to figure out how to be less broken together. I think about calling Maria tomorrow, about the way we'd bonded over her ex's stonewalling, wondering now what his story was, what pain he might have been carrying that she couldn't see. I think about all the men I've dismissed over the years, the quiet ones, the shut-down ones, the ones who couldn't articulate their feelings. How many of them were like James? How many were carrying trauma I couldn't see because I'd already decided what their behavior meant? My phone buzzes with messages from the rally planning group. Need to confirm speakers, finalize the route, coordinate with the permit office. All important work, work that matters. But I think maybe I've been missing something. Been so focused on naming women's oppression that I forgot men suffer too, just differently, just invisibly, in ways that don't fit neatly into frameworks about privilege and power. James stands up slowly, offers me his hand. I take it and he pulls me to my feet. You hungry? He asks. Those eggs from last week are definitely bad by now. I laugh, surprised that I still can. Yeah, I'm hungry. We make dinner. Together. And when he's quiet, I don't push. When he seems distant, I don't assume. I just stay present. Stay open to the possibility that I don't know everything. That my theories and frameworks, however useful, don't capture every human reality. That sometimes the most radical thing you can do is admit you were wrong and try to do better. Later that night, lying in bed next to him, I think about tomorrow's planning meeting, about the women who will share their stories of male violence and male silence. All of it true, all of it valid. But maybe not all of it complete. Maybe there's room in our feminism for male pain, for recognizing that patriarchy wounds everyone, that men's socialized silence is both a tool of power and a cage of suffering, that someone can benefit from a system and be destroyed by it simultaneously. James is asleep next to me, his breathing steady. I watch his face, relaxed in sleep, thinking about 8-year-old him standing in a corner, about Jake, who couldn't escape the corner even years later, about all the ways trauma echoes through lives, about how quick I was to judge without understanding. My phone lights up with a text from one of the organizers. Got the permit, rally is officially on. Going to be amazing. I should feel excited. I do feel excited. But I also feel humbled, realizing that fighting oppression means seeing all of it, not just the parts that fit my narrative, not just the pain that looks like what I expect pain to look like. I text back a thumbs up and put my phone away. Curl up next to James. Knowing we have so much work to do, he needs to heal, to learn to speak again. I need to learn to listen, to see beyond my assumptions. We both need to figure out how to be together in our brokenness. But for tonight, this is enough. Just being here. Just trying. I close my eyes and think about the rally, about standing up for women's rights and women's voices. Work I'll keep doing, because it matters. But differently now, with more humility, more openness, more willingness to admit that suffering is complicated, that people are complicated, that sometimes the person you think is your enemy is just someone who's been taught not to scream, even when they're hurting, especially when they're hurting. I fall asleep thinking about Jake, about all the Jakes, the men who suffered in silence until the silence killed them. And I promise myself I'll do better. I'll see better. I'll remember that everyone has a corner they're standing in. Some of them just invisible to people like me, who thought we knew everything about power and pain, but didn't know enough to ask, didn't know enough to see, didn't know enough to understand. That silence isn't always privilege. Sometimes it's just fear. Sometimes it's just survival. Sometimes it's just a little boy trying not to make a sound. So his father won't make him stand there all night, trying not to cry, because crying means starting over. And starting over means never. Escaping. I hold James tighter, grateful he's still here, still trying, still willing to let me learn. Even after everything I said, even after all my assumptions, tomorrow I'll be better. I'll ask more questions. I'll make fewer assumptions. I'll remember this feeling, this shame, this revelation, and I'll use it. Not to stop fighting for women, but to fight more completely. For everyone trapped in corners, everyone taught that silence is safety, everyone suffering in ways I can't see, unless I'm willing to look, really look, past my frameworks and theories, past my anger and certainty, to the human being underneath, carrying pain I never imagined, because I never asked, because I thought I already knew. But I didn't know anything at all.